What's up, guys? I'm gonna finish up some hardline real quick. I needed to do this real quick. See if it'll work. Maybe. Aha! There. Trying to do something, guys, so sorry. Yeah. JD. There we go. Alright, so now I'm finishing up some 7/8. This is the connector a lot of people want to know a lot about, more than pretty much anything else, really. I've got 2 of these to finish, so I'm finishing up this one now. Y'all will not be able to see the other one, but copy the big wreck. Yeah, I heard about it earlier. Yeah, you can watch, figure out how to do it, or you can get me to do it. It don't make no difference to me. I don't care. I got about 400 foot of 7/8 left. So I had a guy pick up. He's got 100 foot of it. This fella got 120 foot of it. So I think I got 400 and something foot left. I got some 1 5/8, some 1/2 inch flex, some 1/2 inch regular, and lots of goodies there. So that pretty much covers this LC right here. If people are not familiar what an LC is, I wish I would have brought my female. I've got one to show you guys, but I don't have it here, unfortunately. I'll kind of give you a comparison from a regular PL259, just to let y'all see. This right here, there's LC, and that right there is PL259. There's a little bit of difference. 7/16 DIN is more than sufficient for most, but for some who want that extra and you still want to be able to screw it on and off, LC is the next size up. But that just gives you kind of a size comparison. Alright, so what I'm doing now is going to be doing the split feed side, so it'll take me just a second to bend this over, move it around, and get it where I need to put it. But yeah, there's an LC on this end, and it's done. So loose. So, see if I can get you out. Well, chop. Yeah, that's gonna be chopped for sure. The only negative about when you're building wire like this is you take some extra time, get it all tidied up, and then you got to fight yourself for what you did previously just to do more work. But I should be able to do it with this. There's your LC right there, and we'll flip it over and see if I can get this out of here. Any of you guys got any questions, feel free to ask while I'm working. Figured I might as well share it because a lot of you guys had asked me and are continuing to ask me about 7/8. And I got the wire, so figured I'd do it. That's what's going out to another customer soon. I've got to finish up this other end. Let's see if I can get it in a better spot for me so it's out of my way. I want to put it where it's close, but also get it out of my way at the same time. So, I want to be able to share with you guys, and that's why I'm doing this. Hang on 1 second. I got a little booger. It doesn't need to live anymore. Got him. All right. Mosquito. Anybody who has advocating for mosquitoes' lives, I'm sorry. I kill them. All right. So this is going to be the split feed. I've got the LC right here. I guess I'll just keep it here for y'all to be able to look at. It gives y'all an idea what it actually is. Kind of get a profile. All right, so split feeds here. I've got my wire already prepped for it. Got here, and here, and then here. I need to put some heat shrink on this piece, but I can always add that after. That ain't no big deal. So I'm gonna do this one. Yeah, that'll be the one I use. Whatever, I got something for you. What you have to do is make sure you get sufficient braid for what you need. This is sufficient for what I need, and will handle what I need to do with it. So I don't think I'll be able to do like I did with my 1 5/8. Nope, not quite big enough. So what I'm doing right here is just splitting this back where I can do a split feed on it. You'll kind of see what happens next as I go. I did some with 1 5/8, but it's kind of awkward timing, so I don't really share all my stuff all the time, just because some of you guys just don't wake up at 4 in the morning. So I tried to share a couple things early just to kind of see how they'd flow. It is all right, but it's better if I do this stuff like this on y'all's schedule so y'all can enjoy it. If y'all have any questions, feel free to ask. I have some cutting to do here in just a second. Don't copy me. Get some safety glasses. Mine are sitting over here somewhere, but I've cut with a you always get some sort of outcropping. My safety glasses are somewhere, but they're not here. Alright. A lot of you guys have seen some of my builds without knowing it, but this way y'all get to see it in person, and y'all get to actually know who built it. So it's me. Some of my guys that I work for and do stuff for are not necessarily very open about sharing, so I figured I might as well just share on my end. When I'm building it, I don't have to name who's getting it. Y'all can just imagine the station that's upgrading. So what I'm doing here is just making sure I don't have to deal with any excess copper, basically copper dust pretty much. Whenever you're cutting stuff like this, you'll have copper that embeds itself in the foam. So you need to make sure you get that clear so you don't compromise the dielectric strength of whatever you're working on. So kind of something to keep in mind whenever you're working, especially if you're doing some of this stuff yourself. So don't just kind of follow the basics, really. If you're cutting something and you see shavings go everywhere and you're getting hit in the face with shavings or whatever, so you kind of just gotta imagine where else that stuff can go. So keep an eye on it, make sure it's clean, make sure that's kind of the biggest failure with Heliax or any sort of hardline. Don't matter what brand. Heliax is just a brand. The biggest thing that most people do is either they'll have what's called a high voltage node on one of the connections, And what that is basically just a sharp edge that creates high voltage at that particular point, higher voltage than what normally would be there with like a chamfered or a rounded or whatever end. That's why you see corona balls and all kinds of stuff like that. Biggest thing to watch what you're doing is watch how you cut, watch what you cut, and watch where it goes. So kind of the basics of it. Alright, well, if y'all got any questions, feel free to ask. I'm just hanging out. I do these videos quite often. I just figured I'd share this one just because I've had, I don't know how many people ask me about 7/8, so might as well. There's multiple different ways to do this. The biggest thing to do is make sure you don't, like I said, compromise your dielectric strength. I actually do on some of my 1 5/8 braid, I do a full wrap and wrap it around. It just depends on what I have on hand at that particular point in time. And what kind of connection I'm building. I've built with literally a 3/8 terminal on the end before. I mean, you can do any of that stuff. The biggest thing is watching out for how much heat you're putting on your center conductor, because you'll, like I said, break down your dielectric, and then your center conductor will move on you. Kind of got to watch that stuff, but this just is what it is. The name of the game when you're doing this stuff. So what I can do, maybe I thought I wouldn't be able to, but it looks like I might. Ta-da! I've done it before, and I shall be able to do it again. Sweet. All right, so this is just a way to do the center conductor. You can do it multiple different ways, but this just allows me to make sure that the center conductor doesn't break down the strength or the distance between here and here. So it's just a quick cheat. Doesn't work with all braids, doesn't work with all wires, and you got to make sure you don't get some stupid skimpy wire like this and try to put it on some 7/8. It's just not going to happen. Yes, I can do PL259s on 1/2 inch. Those are like unobtainium, so I had one completed, but it already got shipped out to the customer. If you kind of just look back through on the pictures of this build on this page, then you'll kind of see what I've done with PL259s. They're the brass looking ones. I might have one more unobtainium over here. I might as well show you while I'm here. Yes, no. Now those are my DIN connectors. I got probably 100 DINs here. I've got LC, I've got, I don't know, 1 5/8 connectors and all of them. But I'm pretty sure I'll just wipe myself out of the last bit of my my 1/2 inch UHF connectors. But yes, you can do that. And I do that quite often. So you can kind of take a look at my past builds and see what I've done. So hopefully y'all got to see what I was doing a while ago. I didn't really realize that it was pushing away from the edge of the camera. You can only work with so much camera angle with this stuff, so I'll try to do what I can for you guys. What I'm doing is watching the center conductor while I'm working and making sure, one, that this flux doesn't work its way down the center conductor, and also one, that the solder doesn't wick too far on the outside. So you kind of see what I've done right here. I've bonded it to the center conductor, and now I have a flexible center conductor to be able to do my direct feed point. What I'm going to do from here is basically just do my shield. If I had a longer braid, then what I would do is a wrap, but this customer wants to hurry up and do his build, and he's out of time with his setup, so I don't have time to order a longer piece for him. If I ordered a longer piece, then I would be able to, at that point, tie in and do a little bit more of a wrap. It's not that big of a deal. I'm kind of OCD about stuff like that, so it does kind of get to me a little bit. But it really has no effect on whether or not this is going to be a stout connection or not. I just like having 2 soldered connection points rather than just 1 soldered connection point, no matter how good that bond is. Because as I mentioned to multiple people before who've watched my videos, solder is an excellent electrical connection, but it is a poor mechanical connection. So you have to kind of keep that in mind whenever you're working with it. So if you're using Helix or whatever, or 7/8 Hardline or whatever it is, don't matter which brand, just say 7/8 size, or 1 5/8 or 1/2 inch, whatever, don't matter. You have to keep in mind how strong the end of the wire is and what you're tugging on whenever you're trying to attach these direct feed points. So one of the best practices is just go ahead and tie your coax to the boom and have it laid out where it just lays in the right spot. So don't be stretching on this like it's hanging the entire wire from it like you do connectors. That's kind of the worst mistake you can really make. As long as you take care not to do stuff like that, I mean, you really don't have to worry about this stuff. It lasts and does a very good job. What I'm doing here is just basically going to be adding some solder to the jacket. This hard shield is very hard to bond to or do anything to whenever you're trying to attach to a specific direct feed point. So that's why you add braid. There are ways to attach the straight shield to a boom, and a pipe clamp or a stainless steel clamp is not the way. So don't do that. I mean, you'll kind of, when you get in high power, you'll kind of realize, I mean, many guys have done it and they have figured out what happens when they do that, but other guys have kind of gotten away with it. So it depends on how much of the copper is actually bonded to the aluminum or to the boom itself versus how much of the actual stainless steel clamp is trying to do the work. You can't run ferrous metals in an RF environment or else it causes problems. So other people, plenty of people, like I said, plenty of people have gotten away with it, but it's not something I would tell a customer to do or ever try to let my customers do. I would try to at least do my best to give them another option, like I'm trying to do right here. This gives the customer the ability to direct feed to his antenna and doesn't have to worry about the power limitations of his connector or anything like that. I've got to get this a little hotter first. And just keeps him from making the same mistake that other people have made in the past. I'm going to put on a glove for this just because there's no way to get this much heat on this without doing what I'm doing. So this is 7/8. I do 1 5/8 too. I've done, oh God, it doesn't really matter whatever size there is. I've yet to do any 3 1/8, but if I get some, I can do it. Now a lot of people think that 3 1/8 is awesome wire, but it's not as awesome as most people would think it is. So don't be going off trying to buy a big wire and saying, "Oh, he mentioned a bigger wire, let me buy it." Yeah, it's not what it's cracked out to be. Or cracked up to be. And here comes the drip. So I need a little bit more heat than what I got, so I'm going to add more heat with a torch. So only thing I got to watch is placement. Turn this back on. Sorry you guys, I can't let y'all see this part. Not that I'm trying to hide it, it's just I'm acting as a wedge right now. And I want this connection to bond. So I apologize. Waving 537. I apologize if I didn't see y'all's questions. Y'all feel free to ask when I look up. If I don't look up and I haven't responded to you, I apologize. I will try to respond later. Just so you don't feel like I've ignored you in some way. I just do this to share. The reason I keep the foam on here is, one, so I don't leave any shavings deep inside here, and two, so I can kind of keep an idea of what kind of dielectric spacing I still have. I'm trying to maintain at least this distance that I have or more. So that's the goal. From here, what I'm supposed to do is seal it. I've got some pretty cool seal, so I guess I'll show you all that. You can get adhesive lined heat shrink from Home Depot. It really doesn't matter where you go, just as long as you find the right place. So watch it break my scissors. Whatever. No, I'm gonna use something. I got scissors to do this, but I tried to cut some braid just a little while back with a different pair of scissors that's just like this, and I literally broke my scissors. So I'll leave my big heat shrink to other stuff, or my adhesive lined heat shrink to other stuff. All right, so from here, basically just slide this on over the end. I've got this back here, so I'll go ahead and seal off the other connectors. I can kind of cheat with what I own. I own some pink heat shrink, so it works for most of my customers not to screw up. So I can use that. See how far I can go with this. All right. Maybe, and no, not quite. So I'm not going to be that greedy. I'm just going to do it from here. What I would be able to do if I had a slightly bigger piece of heat shrink is I would be able to go ahead and go down that foam a little bit, but it's absolutely not necessary. So, all right. So doesn't look like y'all are asking any questions, so I'm just going to keep working, and y'all can just keep watching. So for this customer, it's kind of blatantly obvious which one's going to be your hot feed. I mean, pink, it's closest to red you can get. So I will try. Looks like I might have almost, see, I got black too. I think I wiped myself out of my black. So I may have to, unfortunately, not show you my cool idea. But whatever, is what it is. What I'm gonna have to do on this one, I kind of change up my idea a lot of times, my plan a lot of times, just with what I have on stock. Like I said, this customer's in a hurry. If he wasn't in a hurry, what I would do is go ahead and go back to get some black heat shrink, just so I'd have a dedicated black, dedicated pink, and then you got, I mean, the color coded for the customer's sake. This customer's got a crane coming out, so I've got to make sure he's done. So there's another simple test for any connector that I've ever built, before. It's pretty easy. Follow the center line of the coax, and the one that follows the center line of the coax is always the center conductor. Follow the outer part of the coax, and whichever one's closest to the outer part is always the outer conductor. I mean, it's not much to it. I kind of try to dummy prove it for people if I can. But if I don't have the material on hand, then I won't do it. Especially if it's like this customer and he wants to hurry up and get the wire. so he can get his crane on scheduled. So. Alright, so from here, what I'll do is go ahead and take my adhesive lined heat shrink, and I don't shrink it all. I kind of do this. You kind of see what I'm doing next. Anybody who asks why I don't use a heat gun, don't. I have 2 heat guns here, and there's a very important reason why I don't, because I don't want to sit here for 5 minutes waiting for the heat shrink to shrink down. You see how long it's taken when I'm using a torch. I mean, you can imagine how long it takes if I use a heat gun. Alright, so next from here, you can use whatever you want to seal up the center conductor. You can use anything that works for you and your application. I've seen silicone tube being used. I've seen regular silicone. I've seen, I don't know, 100 different ideas for this stuff. So it's not necessarily any one idea is better than the other. All you're doing is maintaining dielectric spacing while not breaking it down by using a conductive material. So you don't want to use like no-locks inside that connection, because that's actually got some sort of aluminum particle, or excuse me, metal particles in it. Dielectric grease would work, but I mean, then at that point you would have to encapsulate the dielectric grease. So that kind of defeats the purpose. You want to give some rigidity to the center of the wire while also sealing it off to outside weather. So what I found is simple glue sticks, not necessarily regular glue, but just I guess industrial grade, I suppose is what you'd say. You won't get it in your arts and crafts section, but that's what I use. This is kind of the split feed, so you kind of see what's going on. Oh yeah, absolutely. You can do whatever. I mean, I've got black Sharpie, I've got black tape. I could actually wrap a little run of black tape around this to actually identify which one's the shield, which one's the hot for the customer. And I very well might do that just because. Or what I'll do is take this little cap right here. Here you go. Even though I don't have a full piece of heat shrink, now I've got that one, and I have a small amount of black exposed on this one, so to prevent confusion for that particular customer, or any customer whatsoever, I'll just go ahead and take a little other cap right here and cap off the center conductor. There you go. So now I have one pink, one marked, so there you go. So now's the boring part, pretty much, just adding this stuff until I'm satisfied, and then that's pretty much the gist of this. So I let it build up some more heat as I mean, it takes a tremendous amount of heat to kind of shrink that stuff down. So this is definitely a hot center conductor, or hot wire, so just be careful what you're touching. Make sure it's not too hot. This is a split feed, So what I want to do is, again, same thing as I was talking about earlier, maintain the same spacing or more than what I had originally, and make sure I don't have any sharp edges. That's another reason I use the heat shrink, just to prevent those sharp edges from coming up. So that's kind of the concept. And that's pretty much the gist of it. And whenever I shrink this down, what it does is pushes, you'll see my spider web, that always gets annoying. You'll see it push this shrink back up, or the heat shrink will push the glue back up. Whatever seal you use, you can kind of use the same concept with anything else. No, keep it. Stay in there. You can do it. No. Alright. So now what I'll do, as far as this part, is burn the living crap out of myself if I'm not careful. But pretty much just take whatever excess that I've got and try to cap it off. Like that. And then pull my spacing back out so that it takes my... I'm going to spend forever pulling this stuff off, but whatever. I'm not about to lock myself up. So pretty much all I'm doing is just tidying up my mess. And what I can do is go out after this and clean up the rest of it. But all I need to do is maintain spacing, seal the connection. There you go. That's kind of the gist of it. So now you have a completed 7/8 split feed with LC connector on this end. So the LC's right here. There you go. So I'm gonna hold this right here for a minute. So to give you ideas, a picture of what an LC is, there's your PL259 against it. So pretty large. So for the guys who haven't seen LC, that's what it is. I kind of want to show y'all a different angle. There you go. That shows you how big it is versus my end. Not a small wire. So there you go. That's kind of the fun projects of 7/8. I have plenty. I have another one of these to do right after this one, another 100-footer to do, exactly the same way as this one actually. He's actually got smaller lead spacing, so I don't have to worry about it as much. But yeah, it's kind of the concept. And no, don't do what I just did because it will burn you. I'm used to it. It's not really that hot to me. So any of you guys have ever got hot glue on your hands, I mean, it's not fun. If it was a little warmer, then I would be irritated. And what I would do is immediately try to be wiping it off. I still won't hesitate to work with it because I work with it all the time, so it is what it is. All right, so there's your 7/8. There's your split feed. I let it dry or let it set. See, if I let it go, what happens is it has a chance to move back in. I don't have to hold it like this. I'm just holding it like this because I'm lazy. So kind of the concept. So there y'all goes. Go. I guess I'll show y'all the next size down on connectors. And LC is kind of the next size up. The next size down is going to be DIN connector, and I think I got one right here. There you go. Here's a DIN. That's a DIN connector right here. That's what it looks like. This is a right angle DIN. This is much bigger than any sort of PL259 or UHF connector as far as that's concerned. Kind of see the concept. It's much bigger too. So the next size up is going to be the LC. So you got DIN, PL259, DIN, and then LC. And then what you go to after that is the other fun stuff. I'll show you all that. Might as well, because y'all are here. Here we go. This is the other piece. This is the next size up on connectors. So when y'all run out of screw-on connectors, you get bolt-on. That's your next connector up. So this, in case any of you guys have not ever seen one, it's kind of how it works. There's your center conductor right there. It's that piece right there, which is pretty much the same size as what a PL259 is in whole. So that's your next size up. That's called an EIA flange, LC, 7/16 stent, and then UHF or PL259. Some more fun projects that's going out soon is this stuff right here. I'll move this. Set that below. Some 10 conductor wire is going on the Suburban. It's pretty cool. It saves you from having to run multiple alternator leads for your three-phase, for your AC alternators. So that's going to a guy up north. Then I got a guy up North Carolina getting some 4-alt. And then there's 2 types of quick disconnect. Anderson style right here, and then your twist lock right here. That shows you how big 4-alt is in comparison to that twist lock. Alright guys, that's kind of my stuff for the weekend. I am now completed with all of my previous builds. I've got one more 7/8 build to do, and then I'm open to go back building again. I didn't share much with you guys because I had so much work to do, it was ridiculous. I've got probably 800 or 1,000 foot of 1/2-inch flex, probably 200 or 300 foot of 1/2-inch hardline, 400 foot of 7/8 hardline, and about 200 or so foot, I think, free of 1 5/8. So I'll catch you guys later. Y'all have a good one. Y'all need anything, let me know. And oh, you know, I got probably 300 foot of 1 5/8. All right, catch y'all guys later. Y'all have a good weekend. Hope y'all enjoyed it.